Yeah, we will start without Adriana, and when she joins, then she might be able to join in a few or later on. Okay, and then she can just jump in. Okay, so today we will be talking about the assignment, operations management. This is level 5, are we right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the operations management, and today we'll discuss the assignment because we finished all the LOs. We finished one yesterday, LO4. Okay, correct? And today is the 19th, I believe. Today is Wednesday. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And tomorrow we have a graduation ceremony for people who've completed qualifications. They'll be celebrating their achievement. Okay, and maybe in the future you can also join us. Okay, so let's talk about the operations management assignment guide. What are the learning outcomes for today? Is we have covered 4 learning outcomes in 4 lectures, right? So the first one was to know about the ways in which effective operations management can benefit tourism and hospitality business, right? And the second was to understand processes, systems, and planning methods used in operations management. The third learning outcome was to understand the role of operations management in tourism and hospitality trade. And the fourth, which we covered yesterday, was to look at the principles of visitor attraction management in the tourism industry. So these were the 4 learning outcomes we covered over the 4 lectures. And we'll be talking about how you're going to do your assignment and what you need to do in the assignment. Okay. So do you have access to the assignment on the Moodle?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so the important information that you need on assignment is going to be different tasks. Okay, different tasks to fulfill the different purposes. There are how many tasks on the assignment? There are 1, 2, and 3 tasks, I think. Is that right? There are 3 tasks on the assignment, and covering all the learning outcomes. So there are 3 tasks covering all the learning outcomes, all the 4 learning outcomes, and then there are assessment criteria within each task. Okay. So the learning outcome is the general term used to denote what you're going to cover. Then the assessment criteria is the in other words, they are split into different parts. Okay, so the learning outcome, each learning outcome is divided into different assessment criteria. So one learning outcome may have 3 or 4 learning assessment criteria, or maybe 2 or 1 or whatever. Okay, so you need to distinguish between the learning outcome and the assessment criteria. Learning outcome is the general topic. Okay, overall topic, and the assessment criteria is what you must answer, what you must tackle, what you must deal with in order to cover the whole learning outcome. Okay, are you familiar with the learning assessment criteria?
Yeah.
Okay, so you must answer those assessment criteria, and if you miss out one assessment criteria, that will not answering the question, and you have to rewrite the learning outcome because it doesn't satisfy that particular criteria. So you need to do it again. So in this particular instance, we have the first task has 2 learning outcomes. Okay, learning outcome number 1, number 2. So there are 2 learning outcomes you must combine with your tasks number 1. Okay, so the first learning outcome was or is to know about the ways in which operations management can benefit tourism and hospitality business. And this learning outcome has 3 different assessment criteria. 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. Okay, so 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. So let's see what's the 1.1. Let me check. Assessment. There. Okay. So, okay, can you see this? Can you see this? Learning outcome. Okay, learning outcome 1 is, this is the operations management. Okay, and this is the learning outcome, and these are the learning assessment criteria. So the first one is, number 1 is to describe the evolution of operations management from the manufacturing sector to the service sector. So this is one of the assessment criteria. The second one is to explain how operations has become a managerial function in the tourism and hospitality trade. And the third one is the analyze way in which operations management can be used to create customer value and competitive advantage. So these are the three learning assessment criteria. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first one, so what you need to do is you need to each of these assessment criteria to answer your essay, to answer the first 3 learning outcomes for learning 1. Okay, and if you miss out one, then you will not be able to claim anything, and you have to repeat. All right. So this is the 3 criteria. So the task 1, it says it's a word process going to be an essay. The task 1 is going to be an essay, yeah, where you summarize the history of operations management, including its transition from manufacturing to the service industry, and explain how the operation has become a managerial function, and illustrate how the effective operations management system value to the business of customers and to the competitive advantage. Okay, are we okay on this?
Yeah.
And this will satisfy your 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. In other words, the essay should be this. These are the 1, 2, and 3 learning assessment criteria, and should be word processed. It should be it should be an essay format, not presentation. It should be an essay. It should be have an introduction. It should have a body. It should have a conclusion, probably a summary, then the references. It should be backed with kind of literature review or literature, and should have references, all this. Yeah, maybe also when you start off your assignment, always a good idea to have a content page. Okay, your contents page, the title page, laying each criteria on what page number with the title of the assessment criteria on page number, like the book, cover of a book, first page, contents page. So you must really write that so that it's easier to for the marker to look at which topic is where, which page number. All right.
Okay.
So have you done this type of work before for another assignment,
Yeah.
or this is the first time you're doing it?
No, I done it before.
Okay, so you are aware of this. So you
Yeah.
have a contents page and the topic and the reference number and the, okay. So you're aware of the Harvard referencing as well.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay. Then the second learning outcome has 2 learning assessment criteria, 21 and 22, or 2.1 and 2.2, and this is also it's also a form of a continuous assessment, or sorry, continuous essay, isn't it? It should be a task 1. Is the whole task 1 is an essay. So this describes the 2.1 and 2.2. It says describe the concept of systems design and process design and how they apply to the business. And then the second one, the second criteria will be provide examples of process and product innovations within the business and assess their importance to the targeted shareholders. All right. So these are the other two assessment criteria, and all in all they should have a 5 assessment criteria. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So 2.1 explain and evaluate, right? So this is what it is. Okay, so you have a 5 learning assessment criteria, and you have to tackle each of them. And then the total word limit is about 1,000 words. All right, not big one, maybe 200 words each. 200 words means maybe 3/4 of a page. Yeah. Okay, so it's not a big big essay. 1,000 words, maybe three pages. Yeah. You should include some kind of diagrams. Maybe you can include some kind of tables, or you can include some appendices if you want to. Maybe you include some kind of charts, diagrams, tables, pictures, backed with references, backed with appendices, and make sure that it's a referenced citation, Harvard style. You build up the bibliography at the end, so you keep adding your references towards the end and build up a big what you call a bibliography. Okay, but you must reference your writing within the text. Okay, so you're expected to use relevant academic and reliable sources, and clearly you reference these in your citation. Should be added to the text and placed at the end in the reference list using the Harvard style referencing. Okay. And it's a total of 1,000 words. So would this be a problem, or would this be okay for you?
It's okay for me.
Right. Okay. There is no choice. You have to do it. So yes. Okay. Any question?
No.
All right. Okay. The second task is a case study. You need to again, it's a Word document, size 12, right? Size 12, font style, Arial. You use Arial, size number 12, and the line gap is a 1.5. It's not a double spacing. It's 1.5 spacing, right? And it should be also clearly referenced. It should be having references, reliable sources, academic reference, and Harvard style referencing, citation, journals. Okay, so the case study, it covers learning outcome number 2 and learning outcome number 3, i.e. because they were in your learning outcome number 2, there is what you call 3 assessment criteria, and we covered the first 2 in the first essay here. We have covered this one here. We covered, yeah, do you look at this? Yeah, in learning outcome number 2, we covered 2 assessment criteria, 21 and 22. In the second one, we need to cover here 23. Okay, and also, sorry, it covers also 22 as well. Okay, because it's partly related to that. Okay, now the learning outcome number 3 looks at the role of operations management in tourism and hospitality, and it covers again assessment criteria 22, 31, 32, and 33. So this is 4. In other words, this covers here this one, 4 assessment criteria, and then this is again 1,000 words. So yeah. This is again 1,000 words document, word processed, and it looks at the history of operations management, including its transition from manufacturing to the service industry, i.e., when it started, operations management long ago started from manufacturing, or what you call them, scientific management. Do you understand? So it started off with scientific management, and where it was related to manufacturing industry, because at that time when these subjects or these studies started, there wasn't much service industry over the years, beginning of the century back in America. This scientific management started from the Taylorism, Frederick Winslow Taylor. Did you heard the name of him? Yeah. Have you heard his name? F.W. Taylor, scientific management, father of scientific management, or the person who conducted these time and motion studies long ago in Ford Motor Company or engineering companies there. And this is where it started from, the manufacturing industry. Management started there, okay, from the manufacturing industry. So it's overlapped, or it's moved on from manufacturing to the service industry these days. So you need to look at the track of history, how it's developed, how it's evolved over the years, over the century, right?
In which year?
It started in many years, probably early 19th century.
Oh.
Yeah. So, if you look at the Frederick Winslow Taylor, let me see, F.W. Taylor.
Oh, Frederick W. Taylor.
Yeah, it says F.W. Taylor, right? If you click on Frederick Winslow Taylor, he was a person who was American mechanical engineer, and he started his experiment in the in engineering industry, and he developed what you call them, scientific management, right? Where he looked at different tasks from the angle of specialization. So he said breaking these tasks into smaller bits will increase productivity of employees, provided they do it continuously, and they specialize in particular tasks. They do these tasks in and out every day, so they become more productive, okay? And the more they produce, the more people will earn. If they don't produce more, then they will earn less, you understand? So he studied time and motion study, and this was the beginning of the scientific management, specialization, breaking tasks into little bits. And this is where the manufacturing started, or manufacturing industry. He studied the manufacturing industry there back in the 19th century. He was, yeah. Okay. So so this is at the beginning. It has a beginning in the manufacturing industry, and then over the years, over the century, it has moved from the manufacturing to the service sector, because service sector also needs specialization, or also need productivity, or also need people to study this type of business operations. Okay, so you summarize the history of operations management and moving over from manufacturing to the industry and how it's applied over the years. Okay. The second assessment criteria looks at how operations has become a managerial function. So you look at the operations has become manufacturing, or started from manufacturing, and it's specialized, and what's the significance of operations as a managerial function. So you look at how and why it's become a managerial function. So you look at that history as well. Okay. The third point that you need to look at is illustrate how effective operations management system can add value for customers and to the competitive advantage of the business, i.e. it's asking you to give examples or show how the operations management adds value to customers and add value to being competitive, i.e. how you can stay competitive against your competitors, i.e. how can you reduce costs, and how you can reduce cost, save cost, yet produce more better productivity, and increase your productivity compared to your costs. depends on which, maybe using scientific management, maybe using different models, maybe using people moving from one particular job to another, maybe rotation or something like this, maybe job enrichment, maybe looking at other types of operations that can enhance the competitive advantage of your company or your organization. Yeah, how we can do that. All right. Yes, this next bit is you need to describe the concepts of systems design and systems process design and how they apply to business. Systems design, input, the input and process and output. You aware of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe systems theory, you look at the newer concepts, total quality management or international standards or that kind of concept, okay, where you describe the systems design or process engineering or re-engineering or total quality management, yeah, application, and how they apply to the business and what can they do in order to become efficient, right? That's the, that's the idea. Then you provide examples of process and product innovations within the business and assess their importance to the targeted shareholder. So you look at that. It's again, total of how many words?
100.
About 1,000 words. Yeah, so you got total of 2,000 words, right? So the first one was 1,000 words. Yeah, yeah, okay. No, we're still at we still at it, aren't we? We're still at the same task number 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So 1,000 words in total, not big. Okay. So the whole tasks. So this task number 1 is an essay of 1,000 words. There are there are 5 assessment criteria, and you need to tackle 5 of them. Okay. Yes, task number 2 is a case study. Task number 2 is a case study, and you are looking at 2 learning outcome number 2 and learning outcome number 3. All right. So learning outcome number 2 and learning outcome number 3 will be doing the yeah, I think this should be 2.3, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
This should be 3 because we've covered learning assessment criteria 22 before. Yeah. So this should be at number 3. Okay. Yes. So it covers 31, 32, 33, and 23. Now 23 covers, what is it? 23 is looking at the role and processes of logistics and supply chain. Okay. So 2.3 looks at the logistics and yeah, okay, which is here on this next page. All right. What it does, again, it's 1,000 words, okay, excluding your diagrams, your references, your appendices. It should be in a form of a case study in a Word format, 1.5 line spacing with particular references and excluding all the other bits, excluding the diagrams, okay, and tables and references or appendices. It covers 2.3, 31, 32, 33, and then you will need to look at 2 tourism or hospitality businesses, i.e. you look at maybe 2 different hotels, for example. Yeah.
Oh.
It says you will need to identify 2 tourism or hospitality businesses that have a supply chain operation and logistics department, that is a restaurant chain, hotel, or like McDonald's, for example, like Burger King or any hotel, right? You study that, you look at that, you look at research them, okay, and you look at those in terms of how do they differ. For example, how do they how do the operational activities differ from each other, right? There's a case study should explain here the operational activities of each business. So if you're looking at McDonald's and you're looking at a hotel, right? Or you're looking at two hotels, maybe, Intercontinental and Radisson. Yeah, you look at them, check them, how they offer, what the operational activities, how do they differ, what's the importance of external environment, look at their, external factors, right, we discussed. Okay, you can use the diagrams, you can look at charts, diagrams, tables, to show how the roles and processes of their logistics and supply chain function. Maybe look at both organization chart, for example, and put a picture in there. You understand?
Yeah.
And how do these roles differ from each other? So they'll have it's readily made available, information you can pick up and describe and discuss or show the processes they go through. And then it says here, sorry, where's it gone? Draw a table to show the differences and similarities between the two businesses, right? So of course you can put the in a table format, differences and similarities, yeah, in table, very straightforward. And the last bit, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the last bit, evaluate the existing and potential impacts of virtual marketplace on the operations activities. What it is saying, what is the effect of online, yeah? What's the effect of, e-marketing or online marketing activities? Okay, existing and potential impacts of the virtual marketplace on the pattern of operational activities in the tourism and hospitality industry. So you look at how the online market has affected the tourism industry. All right. So this is again, this is about 1,000 words, and it covers 4 learning outcomes. Okay, and it will cover LO2 and LO3. So this is task number 2 finished. The task number 3 is again an essay, and it's 750 words, maybe 800 words, maybe 900 words, something like this. Nobody's going to penalize you if you go over this limit, but don't go over too much, because if it's over too much, then you're not saying what you are supposed to say within the word limit. And if you can't say within the word limit, then people don't like it really to go over and too much. So if you're writing in a business report, for example, and your manager says, I want this in a page, and you give him about 10 pages, he doesn't have the time to read all of that, and he'll probably bin it. He'll page and he'll read the 1 page and bin the rest. You understand? Because they don't have enough time to read all this. So try and limit the words, as it says, but go over maybe 800, 850, that's not a problem. But don't give us 600 words or 500 words, because that's not going to do either. All right. So this is a task, and this is task number 3. It's an essay. It covers assessment number 4.1, 4.2, 3.3, and 4.3. So there's okay. So there's 4 assessment. Let me move this. And put it here. All right. 4.3.41, 42, 43. Okay. So let's have a look. Again, it should be a Word document. It should be 1.5 spacing. It should have references. It should have, tables, contents, properly referenced, properly sourced. Make sure that you quote sources and appendix, extra references, and all the diagrams are extra. You can add them as appendix if you have some. Okay. Now this this task number 3 should, number 1, it should explain what is meant by visitor management, i.e. attraction management, or we talked about it yesterday, LO4. What's meant by visitor management? How do you classify that? How do you, you know, use this term to say what is the management, what is attraction management, what is why is it important, and so on. Okay. And examine the role of visitor attraction in the development of tourism industry and give examples. So you look at the role, what role does this attraction management play? Why is it important? How is it important? What does it do to the industry? What, you know, why do we need it? Right. So you give it examples of the places that you know of, any beaches or any museums, for example, or any you know, listed buildings, or you know, seaside, or Eiffel Tower, for example, or you know, arts gallery, for example, or other places that you know, you know, visitor attraction where people go and you know, watch or go for a day out, and you look at the, you know, development of tourism destination. How did it develop the historical place? So if, you know, your Eiffel Tower probably is a good example, because, you know, you'll find a lot of information about it. Okay. Or zoo park or whatever. Okay. And then the third one is analyze how effective system of management and control can lead to competitive advantage. So you are looking at, you know, whether this management and control is effective to have a good competitive advantage. Does it, you know, the systems and the protocols and procedures, does it work? And how do they work to maintain competitive advantage? What is competitive advantage? How do you classify competitive advantage? How do you maintain the competitive advantage? You know, saving costs and making sure that procedures, you know, reduced costs and increase efficiency, increase productivity. Okay, maybe, as we said, using models and so on and so forth. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? So that's what we're going to cover. The general guideline is that there is an assignment declaration. You need to use this declaration that your work is your own. You sign it and attach it with your assignment. You fill the, you fill the details, your name, your learner name, your registration, your course, your center name, qualification, all these in a table of format, and the words count. You fill that in and sign it at the bottom, date it, and attach it with your assignment and send it off. All right. Look at the verbs when you are writing assignment. Make sure that you read the tasks very carefully. Focus on the task and evidence that's been asked. Look at the command verbs. For example, when you are looking at the verbs like explain and define and describe, that usually has you know, basic command verbs, you know, which doesn't require a lot of words, between 80, 70 words up to 100, 110 words. Basically, it's explaining, you're telling, you know, you're describing things, you're defining in simple terms. As you get a little bit more into higher stage, so explain in probably stage 3, fine, or you know, in maybe stage 4, that's okay, yeah. But when you go over to say 5 and 6, level 6, then you are getting into the category of assessing and examining and clarifying and analyzing and evaluating, right? And this requires more words and Yeah, your own ideas, your own judgments, your own analysis, your own clarification. Do you understand?
Mm.
As you get to level 7 and 8, the same verb becomes more complicated, and you are not only analyzing, but you are critically analyzing. Probably you're recommending, you are contrasting, you are giving your own opinion. Yeah, you are giving your own recommendation, your own evaluation, and everything. So that requires a more difficult work. And basically it goes up to say 150 to 200 words, for example. So it gets more and more complex as you begin from explaining to comparing to recommending to analyzing to critically analyzing and so on. So you look at the command verbs. Okay. Harvard referencing, as you know, has Harvard referencing. Yes, referencing needs to be in Harvard style, which author, date, publisher, city, town, country, and so forth. So, for example, Johnson and Wood 2011, followed by the title of the text, and followed by the year of publication, followed by the publisher and the country, all that stuff. Full citation, the reference. Plagiarism, keep it to the minimum, 20% or less. Okay, maybe 20% or less. And keep a check on the word limit, word count, please. Okay, make sure you do not go too much over, right? Over the word limit. Okay, and that's all for today. And when you start your assignment, you have 2 weeks to submit the assignment. You can, okay? Any question?
No.
Pretty clear?
Yeah.
Okay. If you have any question, listen to the recording, and if you have any question, write me a question, or text me, or email or whatever. And this learning assessment, your work should be uploaded onto the learner work. Yeah, learner work at ukversity.co.uk. Okay, 2 weeks from the date of your ending of the course, which is today. All right. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything you want to ask?
No.
No? You're okay?
Yeah.
All right. That's good. Well, thank you very much. It was nice having you on board. And
Thank you.
we will see you when we see you next. Okay.
For the next
subject, the next module.
No, I'm asking. No, I'm asking. The other what we call that? I can't remember the word.
The other student?
No, the other topics also teaching by you.
Oh, I didn't know about the other modules. You mean the other subjects? Maybe, yes, probably. Yes, we'll see all the availability. Of course, hopefully I'll be with you.
Yeah,
it depends. Okay, depends on your timing. If the timing is the same, maybe they'll schedule me, or maybe another tutor. I don't know. Okay.
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 Thank you. Have a good day.
Yes, thank you very much, Tulani. Have a good day, and look after yourself.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.